Hello all, welcome to AWS tutorials. My name is Kastro Kiran. In the last video, we have seen what is meant by lifecycle management and how to enable the lifecycle management for a specific object that are available in the buckets. In this video, we are going to discuss about one of the important concepts that is available in S3, which is known as S3 access point. Now, we will understand what is meant by S3 access points, why is it important to work with the real-time scenarios, and how S3 access points enables us a couple of options or advanced options that are available in the S3 service. So to understand S3 service, let us look into a scenario here. The scenario is, let's say there is a development team and also there is a database team and there is a testing team. Assume that these are the three teams that are available for a project: development team, database team, and testing team. And here in each team, let us consider that there is one person that is available. It can be more than also, but for time being, let us just consider that in development team, we have one person, in database team, we have one person, and in testing team, we have one person. Now let's say that they want to access, all the three people wants to access one common bucket. Okay, all the three people wants to access one common bucket. Let's say development team wants to access the same bucket, database team also wants to access the same bucket, and testing team also wants to access the same bucket. Now, in this case, what we do in a general scenario, we will create one bucket policy, and according to the bucket policy creation, we will give them the access to access the bucket and the objects available inside the bucket. This is a general scenario, how we will be able to give the access to a specific bucket for the teams that are belonging to different categories. Now here we will take the help of bucket policy. Now let's say the consider of the situation in a different way. Let us consider the situation in a different way with respect to the access points. Now let us say the same three teams are available and they want to access the bucket. Now here the scenario is, let's say in the bucket, okay, inside the bucket, there are three folders. The first folder is known as dev folder. The second folder is known as database folder. And third folder is known as test folder. Now, what is the requirement? The requirement is very simple. Development team person should access only development team folder. Database team person should access only database folder. Testing team person should access only test folder. Now remember, all these three folders are available in a single bucket only. They are not there in different buckets. In the same bucket, the dev folder is there, database folder is there, and test folder is there. Now, who should access dev folder? Only development team should access the dev folder. Who should access the database folder? Only database team should access the DB folder. Who should access the test folder? Only testing team should access the test folder. Now assume that the developer should not access the database folder and the test folder. The database team should not access the dev folder and test folder. The testing team should not be able to access the dev folder and database folder. So here the requirement is very simple. All these three folders are available in a single bucket. Okay, all these three folders are available in a single bucket. But whatever the folders that are available in the bucket, these folders should be accessed by a specific people. That is, development team should access dev folder, database team should access database folder, testing team should access testing folder or test folder. Now, where are these folders? All these three folders are available in a single bucket, that is a common bucket. Okay. Now, in a general scenario, we might create a different buckets for all the for different teams. Let's say for development team, I'll create a separate bucket called a dev bucket. For database team, I'll create a separate bucket called a database bucket. For testing team, I will create a separate bucket called a test bucket. That is usual scenario to avoid the complications. But here, there are some points where there are some cases where we need to work in a way where all the folders related to different testing team or different teams that are available in the same bucket. Now, whenever developer wants to access the bucket, they can access the bucket, but whatever the dev folder is there, they should be able to do the changes only in the dev folder. Whatever the database team that is available, they have to access the bucket, but the scenario is they should be able to access only database folder. That's the scenario here. Now the scenario is very simple. Let's say the development team wants to access the bucket first. Okay, wants to access the bucket first. Once the development team access the bucket, what they should access specifically, they should access only the dev folder. Okay, they should access only the dev folder. Similarly, the database team should access the bucket, but what they should specifically access in the bucket, they should be able to access only the database folder. Now, similarly, testing team should access the bucket, but they should be able to access only test folder that is available in the bucket. Now, to make this kind of scenarios, we are going to take the concept of access points, and these are called as S3 access point. Now, by using S3 access points, what we can define that in the same bucket, if there are different folders belonging to different teams, we can make all the teams to access the bucket. Bucket accessing is very common here. Okay, all the teams should be able to access the bucket. But specifically, what they should be able to access in the bucket, they should be able to access only their team belonging details or their team belonging objects or files. So the development team should access only dev folder, database team should access only database folder, testing team should access only the test folder. Now, to make this kind of scenario, we are going to take the help of S3 access points concept. So in general, usually we can create a separate bucket for each team. As I was mentioning earlier, usually we can create a separate bucket for each team, and we can create and attach IAM policy for that. Okay, we can create an inline policy, and we can attach that policy to the individual persons in order to give access to specific buckets. But what is the scenario here? In this case, I have only one bucket, and in that bucket, I have 3 subfolders inside it. Now, creating inline policy in this case is very complex scenario. So what we are going to use, we will take the help of S3 access points concept. So what is access point? Access point serves as a layer of security. Okay, they are all there. All these 3 folders are available in a single bucket. But let's say database team, are they able to access the dev folder and test folder? No. So that means access point acts as an extra layer of security for the bucket and also for the objects or folders that are available inside a bucket. So in access point concept, we will create access points to each team, and we will configure those access points to the specific teams and specific buckets, specific folders that are available in the buckets. So instead of writing complex bucket policies, we can create access points to each bucket, that is called as prefix here. What does it mean by prefix? Dev is one prefix, database is one prefix, test is one prefix. Like that, we can create the access points to each prefix, and we can give the DNS names to the users in order to access their respective folders and also the bucket that is available inside a folder. So access points can be in 2 ways. One is access points can be available in a public domain, or they can also be available in a private domain. What does it mean? It means that access points are something which can be created publicly in the internet domain. Whereas access points can also be created in the private networks, where we can create the VPC networks. There we can call it as private access points and public access points. In this demo, we are going to focus on understanding how to create the public access points. Only the VPC will get changed in the private access points. However, I'll be showing you the option to configure the private access points. But in this demo, purely we are going to focus on understanding the creation of public access points and allowing the users or the teams to access only the specific folders. So this is the concept of S3 access points. Now, let us see what exactly we are going to do in order to work with the access points concept. So first, let us create one bucket, and we will add one bucket policy here. Once after we create the bucket and add the bucket policy, inside the bucket, I will create 2 or 3 folders. Let's say I have 2 teams in my team or in my company. So I'll create 2 teams. If there are 3 teams, I'll create 3 subfolders. If there are 10 teams, I'll create 10 subfolders inside the bucket. So just for our case, I'm going to create either 2 or 3 subfolders inside the bucket. So when I create 2 folders, that means I am having 2 teams. Okay, I'm going to give access to each team only one subfolder can be accessed. That's what we are going to do. And then what we will do is we will create 3 IAM users. Why we need to create 3 IAM users? In real time, let's say we have an IAM user. IAM user 1 belongs to development team. Now, IAM user 1 should access what folder? Only he should be able to access the dev folder. Let's say IAM user 2 is there. IAM user 2 belongs to database team. Now, he should be able to access only the database folder. So that is the reason why I'm going to create 3 IAM users. After creating the IAM users, we are going to attach the policies for all these 3 IAM users. So let us create a policy and let us attach the same policy to all the 3 IAM users. Once after we do this one, we are going to create the access points. And then in the process of creating the access points, we need to create access point policy also. That's called as configuration. Once we do all these 3 steps, then we are going to see the changes that are available, whether the development team is able to access only the dev folder or not, whether the database team is able to access only the database folder or not. These changes we are going to observe. And we will also see whether the database team can upload the files into the database folder or not, whether the development team can upload the files into the dev folder or not. All these changes we are going to observe as the final part of this particular demo. So let us go to the AWS console and let us create all these steps one by one. Currently, I am there in the AWS console, especially the S3 service. In S3 service, the first task that we have to do is we need to create one bucket. So let me go and click on create bucket here. And you know that S3 is actually a global service that is available. So here, let me give you the bucket name, which should be globally unique. Let's say I'll give the bucket name as access point, okay, access point hyphen bucket demo. So like this, I'm giving, you can give any name, whatever you want. Since we are working with the access points, so I have just given it as S3 access point hyphen bucket hyphen demo. And then rest of the options, let it be in the default position. I'm not going to change the ACLs disabled. Let it be as it is. And block all public access also, I am going to keep it as on only. And then bucket versioning, rest of the options, I'm not going to change. So let me click on create bucket. If you have given the unique bucket name, the bucket will get created. You can see the bucket has got created now. Now, once the bucket gets created, what we have to do is we need to add bucket policy here. Okay, we need to add bucket policy, which gives the access for access points. Okay, which talks about access points. Let me show you how to do that. So first, go inside the bucket, just click on the bucket name, whatever you have created. And here you can see an option called permissions. In the permissions, we are going to add the bucket policy. If you scroll down to the bottom, you can see an option called bucket policy. So currently, there is no policy that is available. So let us add one bucket policy here. So in order to add one bucket policy, first we need to click on this option called edit. So just click on edit. And here is where we need to add the bucket policy, whatever is required. Now, how to write a bucket policy, how to know what bucket policy we want, all these things I'm going to show you now. So AWS documentation has already provided how to have a simple bucket policy for a sample example. Let me show you that. So for that, what you can do is you can just type in the Google access point policy. Okay, just type that one and click enter. You can see the second tab, which is configuring IAM policies for using access points. Okay, configuring IAM policies for using access points. So click on that option, and then you will be directed to the AWS documentation where different IAM policies are available. Currently, what type of policy we are creating? We are creating bucket policy. For whom? For the access points. So for that, there is a sample example. If you scroll down to the bottom, there is an example 6 where we are going to use that example. Let me show you what is that example 6. You can see there is an example 6 here, bucket policy that delegates, okay, that delegates access control to the access points. So we are working with the access points. Okay, we are working with the access points. Now, in order to work with the access points, first we have created the bucket. After creating the bucket, what we are doing, we are working with the bucket policy that actually gives the access to control the access points. So for that, this is the sample bucket policy. Now here you can see version, statement, effect is allow, principle is everything, action also everything, star represents everything. Resource, we have to give the bucket ARN, and bucket ARN 2 times we have to give. And here there is also a condition which is a string equals condition. And here also we have to give the bucket owner's account ID. Wherever you see the red color symbols or red names, you need to modify those ones. So here it is telling that we need to provide the bucket ARN. The same web page URL, I am going to keep it in the GitHub repository. You can access the GitHub repository of all the policies that I am going to use in this demo. The repository URL is provided in the description of this particular video. So now what I'll do is I will just copy this entire bucket policy example. You can see the 6th example I'm going to take, because this is the example that talks about bucket policy, which usually used in order to control the access points. So let me click on these square boxes here so that the entire bucket policy will get copied. Now come back to the bucket policy that is in S3 service. Just paste that bucket policy. Don't do any kind of modifications as of now. Just paste the bucket policy. Now, once you paste the bucket policy, so here what we have to do, we have to provide the bucket ARN. So what does it mean by ARN? Amazon resource name. So how to get the bucket ARN? So actually, we have created one bucket, right? This is the bucket name, S3 access point bucket demo. So I have went inside the bucket. Once you go inside the bucket, you can see the bucket ARN. So just copy this bucket ARN and then paste in the place of bucket ARN. Just erase that one and paste it here. And here also you can see the bucket ARN. This one also we have to modify. Just paste the same bucket ARN, whatever you have copied. And then you can see there is an option here, bucket owner's account ID. Now, how will we get the AWS account ID? So you can see on the top right side, there is an account name. For you, there must be your own names. So just click on this drop down and you can see account ID. So copy this account ID. Okay, copy this account ID and paste it here. Okay, and paste it in the place of bucket owner's account ID. That's done. Now with this, we have successfully added the bucket policy. Once you add the bucket policy, just scroll down and then click on save changes. So this is about the first step. So what is the first step? The first step is to create the bucket, which we have done by using this bucket name. And the thing is, the second option or the second step in the same step is adding the bucket policy. So how we have added the bucket policy? First, open the bucket, go to the permissions. In the permissions, scroll down to the bucket policy. And here I have added the bucket policy, which talks about access points. Okay, which talks about access point concept. Right. So now let us do the second step. So what is the second step? The second step is to work on creating the IAM users. Okay, creating the IAM users. So here, let me go to the IAM service. I'm just going to open the IAM service in a new tab. Now, once you go to the IAM console, what is the first thing that we have to do? Let's say I'm going to create 2 IAM users. Okay, instead of 3, let's say I am going to create 2 IAM users. So how will you create IAM users? In the left pane, you can see an option called users. So click on that one. And here, let us see how to create the IAM users. So currently, do we have any users? No. So let us first click on create user. And here we should give the username. So what is the username? Let's say I'll give the username as dev1. Okay, dev means development team. I'm just considering it in that way. So dev1 belongs to the development team. Okay, dev1 belongs to the development team. Now, for this development one or for this dev1, how I want to give the access? I want to give the access of AWS Management Console. So just check this option. Okay, since we are willing to give the AWS Management Console option or access, I'm just checking this one. And then here you can see we are looking to create an IAM user, right? So just to select this option, I want to create an IAM user. And then the console password. Do you want to AWS to auto-generate the password, or do you want to give your own password? So let's say if you select this option, auto-generate password, AWS itself will generate a password. Let's say you want to give your own password. That's called as custom password. So just to select this one and then give the password as whatever that you want. Okay, I'm just giving the password here. Once you give the password, you can see users must create a new password at next sign. Let's say this IAM user whoever I am creating, what they will do, they will use this IAM username and the password, whatever I have given, in order to access the AWS management console. Okay, in order to access the AWS management console, they have to use this particular username and the password, whatever I'm going to provide now. By using the same password, they should be able to access the IAM service or login as an IAM user. Now, let's say if you want IAM users to create a new password, you have to check this option. If you don't want IAM users to change the password, then you can uncheck this one. So currently what I am doing is I am not giving the permission for this particular IAM user to change the password. Whatever password that I have given, only that password he can use. He cannot change, he or she cannot change the password. That is what this represents. If you check mark, what happens is IAM user can create his or her own password. Currently, I don't want that. So let me give this one. Even if you check also, that doesn't make a major difference while practicing a demo. It will just ask you to create a new password while you are trying to log in. I'll show that difference in some time. So just click on next here. Currently, my intention is to create only the user. I'm not going to work with the policies and all. Policy, I'll create it in a separate way. So here, let me select this option, attach policies directly. But technically, I'm not going to attach any of the policies. We will create our own policy in some time. So just to select this option and then scroll down to the bottom, click on next. And here you can see the username is this one. Password is custom password because I have given my own password. Have I given the permission to reset the password? No. If you have given that one, then it would have said yes here. So currently I did not give any kind of permission for the IAM user to change the password. So with these details, let me click on create user so that the first user got created. Now you can see console sign in URL. So copy this URL and paste it in any of the notepads that you have. So I'm just giving here, let's say IAM user 1. Okay, IAM user 1. And then I'm going to give the console sign in URL. And similarly, for IAM user name, what is the IAM user name? Dev1. Okay, Dev1 is the IAM user name. So user name. So I'm giving the username as this one. Let me give that dev-1. Okay, you can see dev-1. Password, I am not going to type here. So I'll type directly in the console. Since it must be a secured one, so I'm not typing this one. Let me give some stars here. Stars are actually not passwords. I am just giving that one instead of password. Right. Now, how IAM user will log into the AWS console? He will be logging to the AWS console by using this particular URL. Okay, you should give, as a root user, you should give this particular URL to the IAM user. And then what they have to do, they have to enter the username and they have to enter the password, whatever the root user are created that one. So who created this IAM user? Root user created this IAM user. So who should give the credentials for the IAM user? Root user has to give the credentials of sign in URL link and then the username and the password. Right. So currently we have created one IAM user. Let's say I'll create one more IAM user. So just click on return to users list, click on continue, and then let us create the second user. So what is the second user name? Let's say I'll create the second user name as test1. Okay. So the test1 user belongs to testing team. So similarly here also I'm giving the console access and I want to create a new IAM user and I want to go with custom password. So just give the password, whatever that you want. That's done. And then do you want this particular IAM user to modify the password? If you want, you can give check mark. If you don't want the IAM user to modify the password, just uncheck this one. So currently for the first user, I have unchecked this one. For the second user, I am going to check this one. Even if you can do vice versa also. Even you can also uncheck for both users, check for both users also. I just want to show you the difference. So that's why I'm going to keep I want the second IAM user. What is the second IAM user name? Test1. So this particular user, he can change the password. Okay, that is what I'm trying to give here. Then click on next. And here also, I'm not going to attach any policies. So just select this one, attach policies directly, and don't select any policies here. We are going to create the policy in some time. So, and then click on next, and you can see IAM username, console password, which is a custom password, and required password reset. What will happen when IAM user tries to log in with this name and the custom password, it will log in first. And then immediately it will ask this particular IAM user to change the password. Okay, that is what required password reset yes represents. No means he cannot do any kind of password changes, right? And then click on create users. So currently we have created 2 IAM users. So let me copy the console sign-in URL of the second IAM user also. So IAM user 2. So for IAM user 2, I have copied the console sign-in URL, and then the username is test-1, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, so test-1. So let me give the username as test-1, and password also I am not going to type here. I'll directly type in the console. I'm just giving stars here, right? So now what we have done so far, we have created the IAM users. How many IAM users we have created? 2 IAM users we have created. Now, have I attached any policies for these IAM users? No. So let us attach a policy. In order to attach the policy, have we created any policies so far? No. So let us first create the policy, and then we will attach the policy to the dev1 user and test1 user. Now, how to create the policy? In order to create the policy, you can see an option called policies here. So just click on policies, and then what we have to do is we need to create one policy. Okay, we need to create one policy. Now, in order to create the policy, you can see an option called create policy. So just click on create policy here, and then we need to do some configurations here. So first step is we need to select a service. Which service we are using? S3 service. So just click on this drop down and then select S3 service here. And what kind of permissions you want to give, those permissions we have to set in the actions allowed. Let's say in the list permissions, in the list category, I am going to provide 3 or 4 permissions. Let's say I'll give the permission as list access points, and then list bucket, and also I'll give the permission of list all my buckets, and then I'll give one more option, which is like, let's say list multi-part uploads or multi-region access points. When you are practicing also, you try to give the same permission so that it will work properly. And then the read permission, what I'll give is I'll give the permission for IAM user to upload an object. Okay, to upload an object. So that is what I'm going to give. So let me give the read permission as get access point. Okay, they can be able to see the access point. So I'm giving get access point. List means it will only list it. Okay, list bucket, list object, only these things it will be done. Right. Now, with these ones, what kind of resources they want to access? Everything that is available in the specific folder, they should be able to access. That is why I'm giving all. If you give specific, you should tell which specific object only they should be able to access. Currently, I don't want that. I want a specific folder to be accessed inside a bucket. So that's why I'm giving resources as all. And then click on next here, and policy name it is asking. Let's say I'll give the policy name as access point policy -Kastro. I'm just giving this name. Just remember the policy name here. And description, if you want, you can give. Otherwise, it's an option. And then click on create policy. Once you create the policy, what we have to do, whatever the policy that we have created now, you can see access point policy -Kastro. This policy, what we have to do, we have to attach to the IAM users. Okay, for both IAM users, I have to attach the same policy. So how will we attach? So just go to the users. In the users, just click on the first username, that is a dev1 user. Now here we need to attach the policy. Now go to the permissions tab here. Here you can see an option called add permissions. So click on add permissions. Now, have we created the policy? Yes. So since we have already created the policy, you don't need to again click on create inline policy. So just click on add permissions here. Once you click on add permissions, now we need to add the permissions. What permissions? The policy. So click on attach policies directly. And here you will be able to see the policy, whatever you have created here. By any chance, if you don't see the policy here, just type the policy name in the search box. Okay, just type the policy name in the search box. Even after typing the policy name in the search box, if you are not seeing your policy, just click on this refresh button. Okay, just click on this refresh button and then view your policy name here, and automatically whatever policy that you have created, it will display that policy. Now, select that policy, click on next, and then click on add permissions. So for this particular user called dev1, what policy I'm attaching? I'm attaching a policy called access point policy -Castro. So let me click on add permissions, and with this, one policy added. For whom the one policy got added? For this particular user, you can see what policy got added. You can see permissions, under permissions, one policy is available. Now, similar thing, we will do it for the second IAM user also. So let me go to the users again, click on the second IAM user, that is test1, and go to permissions, click on add permissions, click on add permissions again, and here select attach policies directly because we have the policies available. So select attach policies directly, and then give the policy name, whatever you have created, select that policy, click on next, and then click on add permissions. So with this, what we have done, we have completed the second step also. So what we have done in the second step, first I have created two IAM users. Then I have created an policy. Okay, then I have created one policy. And that policy I have attached to both of these users. Okay, that policy I have attached to both of these users. Right. So now let us do the third task. So what is the third task? Third task is we need to create 3 subfolders or 2 subfolders. Now, how many teams are there? Let's say we have 2 teams, dev team and test team. So I will create the folders like dev folder and test folder in the S3 bucket, whatever we have created. So let me go to the S3 bucket, and here what I will do is I am going to go inside the bucket. Okay, just go to the buckets, click on the bucket, whatever you have created. And here inside the bucket, do we have any objects? No. So let us create 2 folders here. So just click on create folder here. Now let's say the folder name. So what should be the folder name? Let's say I'll give the first folder name as dev folder. Okay, dev folder. Now who should access this dev folder? Only dev1 should access that. Okay, can test1 should access that folder? They should not access, because dev1 should access only dev folder. Test1 should access only the test folder. Right. So let me give the folder name here, and these ones, let it be the default ones. Click on create folder. Right. Now, similarly, we will create the second folder also. Click on create folder. What is the second folder name? So test1. So let me give the folder name as a test folder. Okay, let me give the folder name as a test folder, and then click on create folder here. Once you click on create folder, you can see 2 folders are available. Who should access the dev folder? Dev1 user should access the dev folder. Who should access the test folder? Test1 user should access the test folder. Can test1 access the dev folder? No. Can dev1 access the test folder? No. So here what I am doing, a specific user should access only a specific folder and the objects inside that folder. That is my intention. So now we have created the folders or subfolders inside the bucket. Now what we have to do, we need to create an IAM user. Okay, we need to create an IAM user. So let us create an IAM user. Sorry, we need to create an access point. Let us create an access point. Now, in order to create an access point, just go inside the bucket. Okay, just go inside the bucket. Once we go inside the bucket, here you can see an option called access points. So just click on access points here. Okay, click on access point. Currently, do we have any access points? No. That is why it is telling 0. So let us create an access point. So just click on create access point. Once you click on create access point, it will ask you to provide a couple of details. Let's say I'll give the access point name. Okay, let us give some access point name. Let's say I'll give the access point name as a Kastro access point. Just some name you can give, but remember what name that you are giving. So Kastro access point. For which bucket we are creating the access point? This is the bucket. Now you can see I was telling you in the theoretical part that access points can be public, they can also be private. If you want to create a private access point, you should select VPC here. And once you select the VPC, if you have created the VPC, that VPC ID you should give here. Currently, we are not working with the VPC. We are just there with the S3 service only. So I'm not going to touch this particular option called VPC. So let me select internet here. Okay, let me select internet and let us give all these permissions as the default permission. Now here what we need to do is we need to create the access point policy. Here they said it is an optional, but we need to create because we are working with the access points concept. Now, how to create this access point policy? Now, similarly, in order to create an access point policy, we will take the example of AWS documentation. Now, here you can see policy examples. Okay, you can see an option called policy example. So just click on policy examples here. Okay, just click on policy examples here. Now, once you click on policy examples, if you scroll down to the bottom, okay, if you scroll down to the bottom, you can see access point examples. Now, just come down, the very first example you have to take. Okay, access point policy grant. So just copy this example. Okay, don't do any changes, just copy this example. So I'm just going to copy this example. That's done. Now go to the access point policy and then paste the policy whatever you have copied it. Okay, paste the policy here. Right, I have pasted the policy. Now here we need to do a couple of changes. So let me explain you what is this access point policy and how it works. I have already provided that in the documentation. I see here you can see the bucket policy also, the web URL as well. And for IAM users, I have created the policy. Let it be this policy only. If you want, you can change according to your requirement. And then access point policy. This is the same policy that I copied from the documentation here. Okay, but here I have made some changes for better understanding. Let's say here effect is allowed, principal is also allowed, and here AWS. Okay, here what we should do, in the place of AWS account ID, we should give our own account AWS account ID. And here we should give the IAM username. And actions I'm giving S3 get object, S3 put object. What does it mean by get object? Get object means download the object. Put object means upload the object. Where they should upload the object to a specific bucket. That bucket the URL we have to provide. You can see bucket region code you have to provide. In which bucket you have created, in which region you have created the bucket, that bucket region code you have to provide. So let me delete this one. This is not required here. Right. And then here you have to provide the account ID as well. Okay, AWS account ID as well. And then here you have to provide the access point name. And here you should provide the folder one name. So these are the changes that we are going to do now. So let me copy this one and let me paste it here. Or you can use directly with this one itself. So let me paste it here. Right. So here, what is the thing that it is asking? AWS account ID. So let me give the AWS account ID here. How will you get the AWS account ID? Just go to the top right corner of your account name, copy the account ID and paste it here. Okay, paste it here. That's that. So in the place of AWS account ID, just paste the account ID of your AWS account. Right. And then the next one is IAM username. Okay, IAM username. Now here, what access point we are creating? Kastro access point. Now for which folder or for which subfolder we want to give the access? Let's say I want to give the access to dev folder. To whom I should give? The dev1 user is there, right? For this dev1 user, I want to give the access of dev folder. So I'm just copying the dev1 username, and then in the place of IAM username, just paste that IAM username. That is a dev1. Now dev1 user should access which particular folder, that we have to specify. Now before specifying that, in which region we have created the bucket, technically I have created the bucket in the Mumbai region. If you see AWS region, where I have created the bucket in the Mumbai region. What is the code of Mumbai region? AP-South-1. So just copy that code and then go to here. In the place of bucket region code, just replace it with the code of the region. And then here you can see AWS account ID. So let me give the account ID of my AWS account. Copy the account ID, and in the place of this one, just erase this one and paste the account ID. That's done. And here you can see access point. So what is the access point name that we are giving? We are giving the access point name as Kastro-access point. Just give the same name whatever you have given on the top. Okay, you should give the same name. Right, that's done. Now Kastro access point I have given. Now let's say I am going to give the object. Now for which folder I want to give the access? There is a folder called dev folder. Okay, there is a folder called dev folder. So for that I have to provide the access. So just give the folder name as dev folder. Make sure to give the folder name as it is that you have created in the AWS S3 bucket. Let me show you that. I'm just opening the bucket in a different tab just to show you what exactly is the folder name or the subfolder that we have created. Now you can see there are, go to the objects here, and you can see dev folder, dev hyphen folder. No need to give slash here. That's not important. Just give dev hyphen folder. That is the same thing that I have given, dev hyphen folder. Now in the dev folder, okay, in the dev folder, this dev1 user should access what? He should be able to access all the objects that are available inside it. That is why I'm giving star. Star represents whatever the objects that are available in the dev folder, this particular IAM user should be able to access. So here what I'm giving the limitation, this dev1 user should be able to access which folder? Only dev folder. Will he be able to access the test folder? No. Why? Because I am creating that access point here, right? Once you do all this one, just click on create access point. So just click on create access point so that the access point got created. You can see the access point got created. Now, similarly, we are going to create one more access point for the second user. Okay, for the second user, right? So now we have created the access point. Let's verify. If you want, you can create the access point one more for the second user. How will you create? Again, go to access points. In the access point, just click on create access point. And here, let's say I'll give the access point name as Kiran hyphen access point. Okay, Kiran hyphen access point. And internet medium, I'm giving block all public access, everything as it is same. And here we need to give the policy example. What is the policy example? Just copy the same policy, whatever I'm going to provide to you also. The GitHub URL link is provided in the description of this video. So just copy that URL link. I mean, go to that GitHub URL and you will be able to find all the details there. Okay, right. So here account ID. So let me just quickly replace, since we have already discussed that one. I am just going to go little fast with the replacement activities. And IAM username. For which IAM user I want to give the access for the second IAM user. What is the second IAM username? Test1. So just give test1 here. Okay, just give test1 here. And then region, bucket region code, where I have created the bucket AP-South-1. That is Mumbai region. Account ID. Let me copy the account ID once again and let me paste it here. Right. Now, access point name. What is the access point name? I am giving the access point name as Kiran-AP. AP represents access point. You can give your own names also. That's completely up to the choice of individual. So give the access point name. Just remove that one. And here, for which folder I want to give the access? Only to the test folder. Okay, only to the test folder. So give that folder name, test-folder. Okay, test-folder. Now, whatever the objects that are available in the test folder will be accessed by which particular IAM user? Test1 IAM user. Okay, test1 IAM user. Right. With this, you can create multiple access points also. So I just showed you how to create the access point for the second user. If you want, you can click on create access point. Otherwise, you can click on cancel. Let me click on create access point. So that we have created two access points here. So inside the bucket, I have created two access points, Kastro access point, Kiran access point. Now, Kastro access point is actually a internet faced and Kiran is also an internet faced. Now, Kastro access point should access which particular folder? Only the dev folder. Kiran access point should access which particular folder? Only the test folder. Let us verify that. Now, what we will do is let us verify. Okay, let us verify whether this particular IAM user, that is dev1 IAM user, is able to access this particular dev folder or not. Okay, whether dev1 IAM user is able to access the dev folder or not. How will you do that? For that, we are going to take the help of the IAM user credentials. Okay, first IAM user one URL, I'm going to copy it. Okay, just copy the entire IAM URL, whatever we have copied it from the IAM user. I'm just going to a new browser. I'm opening a Firefox browser here where I'm going to log in as IAM user. So just click on enter. Once you click enter, it will ask the IAM username and password. So let me give the IAM username. So what is the IAM username? You can see here. So you can see IAM username as dev1 IAM user. So just copy this dev1 IAM user and go to new browser and enter those details. Let me show you that. So currently I am there in the new browser, that is Firefox browser. I have just pasted the URL, and then you can see it is asking me the IAM username. So just whatever the IAM user that you have created, just give that IAM user. Now this particular IAM user should access which folder? Only the dev folder. So let me give the password. I have given my own password, right? So just give the password, whatever you have created, and then click on sign in. Once you click on sign in, automatically it is going to take us to the IAM user console. Okay, see, the IAM user is able to access the AWS account or not? Yes. How they are able to access? Because of the policies that we have created. Right. Now let us verify whether this dev1 IAM user is able to access the dev folder or not. How to do that? First, let us go to the S3 service. In the S3 service, they should be able to see, or the dev1 IAM user should be able to see the bucket. Okay, should be able to see the bucket. You can see dev1 IAM user. Is he able to see the bucket or not? Yes. So click on the bucket name. Now inside the bucket, we have created two folders, right? So just verify whether two folders are available or not. So let me close this one. And you can see the two folders, whatever we have created, dev folder and test folder. Now, how we have, with what username we have logged in, you can see on the top right side, what is the IAM username? Dev1. Now, dev1 IAM user should access which folder? Only the dev folder. Will he be able to access the test folder? No. So let us verify whether he will be able to access the dev folder and test folder or not. So let me go first to the dev folder. Inside the dev folder, currently there are no objects. Can I upload an object as an IAM user? Yes, let's verify that, whether we will be able to upload it or not. So just select upload here and then click on add files and select any file, whatever that you want. So I'm just going to select a simple file here. Okay, I'm going to select a simple file with a name called Internship Studio. And now let us click on upload. If you click on upload, what will happen is you will see upload failed. Okay, you'll see upload failed. Let me show you that. So click on upload here. Now you will be able to see upload failed. Why the upload got failed? Dev1 user. Okay, dev1 IAM user. You can see I am logged in as dev1 IAM user. What is our intention? Dev1 IAM user should access dev folder. But is he able to access? Yes, he is able to access. But is he able to upload the objects? He is not able to upload the object. He or she is not able to upload the object. What is the reason? The reason is very simple. How the dev1 IAM user is accessing the bucket, directly he is opening the bucket and then he is going inside the folder and then he is trying to upload the object. Then what is the use of creating the access points? That is why we have to use the access point concept here. So just open the bucket. Once you open the bucket, don't directly go into the folders. What you should do is go to the access point. Okay, go to the access point. So click on access points here, right? And then you can see two access points are available. Okay, you can see two access points are available. Now, whatever the access point that we have created, okay, whatever the access point that we have created with this access point. So the dev1 IAM user should have, is having what type of access point? What is the access point name of dev1 IAM user? For dev1 IAM user, the access point name is Kastro-AP. For the test1 IAM user, the access point name is Kiran-AP. So now, since I have logged into the AWS account as a dev1, dev1 should access which one? Should access a Kastro access point. So just click on Kastro access point. Now you can see the folders. Now just go to the dev folder. Inside the dev folder, now you try to upload the object. Okay, now you try to upload the object. Click on add files, select the file, whatever that you want to upload. Now you click on upload. If you click on upload now, you will be successfully uploading the object here. You can see I'm uploading the object. Can you see? Upload succeeded. Why upload got succeeded? Because I am accessing the bucket. Okay, who is accessing the bucket? The IAM user. Who is the IAM user name? Dev1. So Dev1 IAM user is accessing the bucket called the whatever bucket that we have created. Inside the bucket, we have created a folder called a dev folder, and he is able to upload the object into the dev folder. Can he delete the object? Yes, select the folder, click on delete so that object gets deleted. Now let's verify whether this dev1 IAM user is able to access the second folder or not. What is the second folder? The test folder. Okay, the second folder is test folder. So let me go to the test folder here. And now let me select upload and then click on add files. Once you click on add files, let me select the same file once again. Now where I am accessing, where I am uploading this particular folder, particular file, I am uploading in the test folder. Dev1 IAM user, will he be able to access this test folder? No. So I'm trying to upload the object. Let me click on upload and let's verify whether the upload gets failed or success. You can see upload gets failed. Why upload gets failed? Because for dev1 IAM user, which access point we have given? I have given the access to access only which folder? Only the dev folder. Okay, only the dev folder. That is why he is able to access only the dev folder. If he is going into test folder, will he be able to upload the objects? No. So that is the reason why we need to work with the access point concept. So what is the access point concept? The access point concept is whatever the teams that are available in a particular project, they should be able to access only the specific folders that are available in a specific bucket. In a single bucket, let's say I have 10 folders. Each team should access only their own folder. So that is how we are going to work with. Now, the second access point is also there. What is the second access point? Kiran-AP. Now, who should access this second access point? The test1 IAM user will be able to access. So when you are practicing, what you can do is, we have created the second IAM user also, right? For the second IAM user, we have had the IAM login console, AWS login console sign-in URL link, and IAM username we have, and IAM password also we have. Just access the test1 IAM user by using Kiran-access point, or whatever the access point that you have attached to the second IAM user, give the same IAM user, same access point, and then that second IAM user will be able to click on the second access point, whatever is attached, and then he will be able to upload the objects into the test folder. Like this, what we do in the real-time scenarios is, we will create many folders according to the requirements of the team. We will create many folders, and whichever team I want to give the access, only to that team I'll give access to that particular folder. That is the entire intention of working with access points concept. So I hope you got the concept of what is meant by access point and how to work with the concept of access point in a practical way. So by the end of this demo, you must have got to know that I have created two IAM users, like dev user and test IAM user. And for dev user, I want to give the access to dev folder. For test user, test IAM user, I want to give access to test folder. What I have done, I have created a bucket. Inside the bucket, I have created the folders, and then I have created the IAM users. Two IAM users I have created, and for those two IAM users, I have given the access to access only the specific folder that is available in a single bucket. So I hope we have achieved the intention of working with access points by giving the access to specific team to a specific folder. This is all about the concept of access points. In the next video, we are going to work with other advanced option or other advanced features that are available in the S3 service. Thank you.